Well, I mean, I think they're all good, especially, I mean, I've paid more close attention to the ones in like the last maybe 3 or 4 issues, but I like the older ones as well. I think the ones that rise to my top of favorites are the ones that offer really, really concrete discussions and glimpses of particular texts or descriptions of particular textual practices, So like the more concrete they are, the more I tend to like them, and the more in-depth looks they offer at those things, So like I tend to really like and use in my own classrooms as examples the ones that kind of take a deep dive into like a particular textual practice, or a particular text that somebody created and how they're using it or why. Like those are the ones I tend to gravitate toward. I think mostly because I ask my students to do those kind of things. And so I'm always looking for kind of like published examples of them. I also like it when but I think all of your journal articles do this just by virtue of being in the journal. They're motivated by some sort of kind of theoretical construct or concept or something, So like almost all the grassroots pieces I think I've ever read take up some of the terms that you all use in your program and use them as part of the analysis.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite ones tend to be the ones where that stuff is mentioned kind of at the front end of the article and then used, but that where the theoretical stuff doesn't overpower the analysis of people's practices and things.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like the ones that kind of offer and elaborate some of the concepts like genre or lamination or whatever, and then use that as a way to look at like what some particular writer is doing. Those tend to be kind of my favorite ones. So, I mean, the ones that immediately come to mind in terms of particular favorites, it would be unfair for me to say at this point because the ones I'm thinking of mostly are ones that my own students have published in your journal, or the thing that you and I did where we're talking about our
understandable
writing. But those are just the ones that are most memorable. I could browse back through a couple of issues of the journal and probably give you a brief list of like some of my favorite ones. Joyce's thing about the semiotic toolbox comes to mind. I like that too. Just again,
mm-hmm.
because it's so concrete. She's showing you the images of the toolboxes and using that. So I think that's kind of an interesting kind of autoethnographic example of one writer examining their own kind of textual practices. So, yeah,